Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
Today we're sharing 5 stories. First, how SK Hynix just dethroned Samsung in the critical AI memory market. We'll explain why its HBM chips are the secret weapon fueling Nvidia's entire operation. Second, we'll dive into President Donald Trump's new war on woke AI. Banning certain ideologies while the Defense Department quietly awards $200 million contracts to Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic. Third, we explore the $1 billion black market for Nvidia's banned B200 chips in China and how a sophisticated smuggling network is completely bypassing US export controls. Then we'll look at how Walmart is unleashing AI super agents that can see inside your fridge, all part of its massive bet to hit $300 billion in online sales and take on Amazon. And finally, we have Aeneas, a new Google DeepMind AI that deciphers ancient Roman inscriptions, but raises a critical question: can it tell history without an elite bias? A seismic shift just rocked the global tech industry. For the first time ever, one company has reportedly overtaken its colossal rival, Samsung, in the critical market for DRAM memory. The company is SK Hynix, and they just posted record-shattering results. Their operating profits skyrocketed nearly 69% year on year, and revenue jumped over 35%. So what's their secret weapon? A tiny, powerful component called HBM, or high bandwidth memory. It's the essential fuel for the entire AI revolution, and SK Hynix has established itself as the global leader. HBM isn't just faster memory, it's a completely different architecture. Think of it like stacking skyscrapers of memory chips on top of each other, connected by thousands of tiny data lanes. This vertical design allows AI processors to access huge amounts of data almost instantly, which is exactly what they need to function. Now, what really sets SK Hynix apart is a breakthrough manufacturing process. They perfected a technique called mass reflow molded underfill, or MRMUF. It's a way of packaging these stacked chips that is far more efficient and allows for much better heat dissipation. In fact, research shows it improves heat performance by over 36%. This isn't just a side business for them. In the last quarter, HBM sales accounted for a staggering 77% of the company's total revenue. They are the key supplier to the US, a eye-darling Nvidia, putting them at the absolute epicenter of the tech world's biggest boom. This is a critical relationship for both companies. Nvidia needs a reliable supply of the best HBM to build its world-leading AI accelerators, and SK Hynix has become their go-to partner. But this codependency creates risk, which is why you see Nvidia working hard to get other suppliers like Samsung up to speed to avoid being reliant on a single source. But that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is how this leaves competitors playing a desperate game of catch-up. Both Samsung and US-based Micron are reportedly working to get their own versions of these chips certified and approved. The reality is Samsung, the long-reigning king of memory, stumbled. Reports indicate their HBM chips failed Nvidia's strict quality tests due to issues with heat and power consumption. Their production process has been less successful, with some sources claiming their yield for these advanced chips is only around 10 to 20%. To put that in perspective, SK Hynix's yield is reportedly a much more stable 60 to 70%. That's the manufacturing moat that has given them this incredible lead, and the gap may be widening. SK Hynix just announced it expects to double its HBM sales for the full year compared to 2024 and is already preparing its next generation chip for mass production. This all raises a critical question. Is this lead unstoppable? One research director at the Futurum Group thinks so, stating, "I expect this edge to persist through the rest of 2025 and extend into 2026. This isn't just about a quarterly win. It's a fundamental power struggle for who will build the future of artificial intelligence. The war for AI memory is on, and right now, there is one clear king." Speaking of the engines powering AI, the conversation in Washington has shifted to what that AI is actually allowed to think. The White House has just declared war on what it calls woke AI. US President Donald Trump has signed a series of executive orders designed to keep certain ideologies out of artificial intelligence used by the federal government. One order, titled Preventing Woke AI, states the government will not buy AI models that sacrifice truth for what it calls ideological agendas. Now, get this. Achieving true neutrality in AI is incredibly difficult. Research from places like the Journal of Computational Social Science shows that almost all large language models have some kind of built-in political bias simply because they're trained on vast amounts of human-written text from the internet. The data itself has biases, so the AI learns them. The challenge then isn't just about avoiding an agenda, but about who gets to define what truth and neutrality even mean. The order gets specific, identifying diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, as one of the most pervasive and destructive of these ideologies. It goes on to say that concepts like critical race theory, systemic racism, and unconscious bias will be targeted. A direct quote from the order reads, D displaces the commitment to truth in favor of preferred outcomes and poses an existential threat to reliable AI. From a technical perspective, this creates a fascinating paradox. Many AI fairness experts argue that to prevent an AI from being biased, you actually have to teach it what biases are. The concern is that if you forbid an AI from being trained to recognize concepts like systemic racism, you might be creating an AI that blindly replicates and even amplifies historical biases because it has no framework to identify and correct them. This policy directly references past controversies, like when Google's Gemini AI was pulled for creating historically inaccurate images, such as changing the race of historical figures. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. Even as the administration wages this ideological battle, it's also pouring money into the industry. The Defense Department recently awarded contracts worth up to $200 million to major AI players, including Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic. This could create what some are calling a two-track AI economy. Will companies like Google and OpenAI, which have public commitments to ethical AI and DEI, now have to create separate government edition models just to win these contracts? It could force them to navigate a minefield trying to please government clients without alienating their commercial users. Interestingly enough, the anti-woke orders language closely mirrors the marketing of XAI, run by Elon Musk, whose Grok chatbot is advertised as maximally truth-seeking. Yet, Grok itself has been at the center of massive controversy. The chatbot recently apologized after it was found praising Adolf Hitler, and in a separate incident, it temporarily started referring to itself as Mecha Hitler. The administration is now pushing to become an AI export powerhouse while simultaneously fighting a culture war on the home front. This push has huge global implications, pitting American AI against China's state-controlled digital Silk Road and Europe's privacy-focused model. With no comprehensive federal laws regulating AI, it leaves you wondering, who is truly in control of this technology and what will it say next? And while the US tries to export its own brand of AI, it's struggling to contain its most powerful hardware. A new report reveals that in just 3 months, at least $1 billion worth of America's most advanced AI chips were smuggled into China, completely bypassing a US export ban. We're not talking about last generation tech. We're talking about Nvidia's top-of-the-line B200 processors, the very hardware the US government explicitly banned for sale in China. Despite the ban, these chips are now widely available on a thriving Chinese black market. The significance here is that the B200 isn't just a computer chip. It's the engine for building the most powerful artificial intelligence models on the planet. Access to these chips is what separates AI, leaders from followers, and having them allows a country to accelerate everything from military AI to commercial tech development. So how is this happening? Believe it or not, this isn't just a few people stuffing chips into suitcases. It's a massive international shell game. We're talking about a sophisticated network of shell companies, private brokers, and individual couriers routing chips through hubs like Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Singapore. There, shipments are disguised, serial numbers are sometimes altered, and regulatory loopholes are exploited to get them to the mainland. This isn't just about a few smuggled goods. It's a direct challenge in the global battle for AI dominance. And what about Nvidia? Their official response is that building data centers with smuggled products is inefficient, both technically and financially, because the company only offers service and support for authorized products. You know, when Nvidia says it's inefficient, they're being polite. What it really means is that these billion-dollar data centers are being built on a house of cards. Without official support, these companies get no access to critical firmware updates, security patches, or troubleshooting help. They are essentially flying blind. The fallout is already starting. The US Commerce Department is now reportedly discussing adding even more export controls, targeting transit countries like Thailand as soon as September. It forces a critical question. In a war for technological supremacy, can a government ban ever truly stop a $1 billion demand? This is where the strategy gets really complicated. The US is essentially playing a game of whack-a-mole. Experts point out that these unilateral controls can actually backfire, spurring China to accelerate its own domestic chip industry, with companies like Huawei now producing their own powerful AI chips to reduce their reliance on foreign tech. So while the US tries to cut off the supply, it's also fueling the very competition it's trying to contain. From the geopolitical battle over chips, we now turn to the corporate battlefield, where another giant is unleashing its own AI arsenal. Walmart is building an AI that can look inside your fridge and tell you what to cook for dinner. That's not science fiction. That's just one feature of the new AI super agents the world's largest retailer just unleashed. This is about more than just convenience. After all, giving an AI visual access to your home raises huge questions about data privacy. To make this work, Walmart will have to convince millions of people to trust them with an unprecedented level of access to their private lives. This isn't just another shopping assistant. Walmart is rolling out 4 distinct AI agents. There's one for you, the shopper, that can plan a unicorn-themed party. Then there's an agent for store employees that lets a manager get instant sales data. A third agent, Marty, will manage suppliers and advertisers. Now, what's particularly interesting about this third agent is how it could create a new form of shadow work, where vendors have to invest in new technology just to stay competitive and align with Walmart's AI. Pilot programs using AI chatbots for negotiations have already helped Walmart reduce costs, showing just how powerful this can be. And a fourth will be the platform where all future AI is built. This fourth agent is the real linchpin here. Walmart is building what the tech world calls an agentic AI architecture. It's a move toward a truly intelligent, self-managing enterprise. And Walmart is betting its entire e-commerce future on this, setting a stunning goal to have online sales account for 50% of its total revenue within 5 years. That's a target north of $300 billion. Make no mistake, this is a direct shot in the ongoing war with Amazon. When we place Walmart's centralized super agent strategy alongside Amazon's hyper-personalized approach, the different philosophies become clear. The race is on to see which approach will dominate retail. But there's a huge question hanging over all of this. What about the jobs? While a Walmart executive claimed the AI would create new jobs, they offered no specifics. The reality is, the AI agent for employees is specifically designed to automate tasks like approving leave requests and summarizing sales data functions, traditionally handled by corporate staff and store managers. This aligns with a broader industry trend toward leaner management structures, as AI threatens to automate the very tasks that define those roles. This comes at the exact same time Amazon's CEO confirmed that AI will reduce its corporate workforce. And it's not just Amazon. Microsoft and Google have also laid off thousands. Even Walmart itself has been downsizing corporate staff and cutting jobs as it automates its fulfillment centers. So as Walmart builds its army of super agents, the real question isn't just whether it can beat Amazon, it's how many human roles will be automated away in the process. We were just talking about AI potentially replacing human workers, but what if it could become the ultimate collaborator? A new project from Google DeepMind suggests just that. Researchers at Google, DeepMind, and Nottingham University have built an AI named Aeneas that is set to turbocharge our understanding of the Roman Empire. This isn't just about filling in a few missing words. Aeneas can take a fragmented inscription, predict the missing text, pinpoint its original location, and even estimate its date. So the thing is, Roman inscriptions, especially on public monuments, tend to be very formulaic. They follow predictable patterns and use standardized language, which makes them the perfect training ground for an AI. The real test will be if this technology can be adapted for less structured texts, like personal letters or poetry. For historians, this process is painstaking. Aeneas does it in the blink of an eye, drawing on a vast database of 176,000 Roman inscriptions. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer of complexity at play. That database, who wrote those inscriptions? Overwhelmingly, they're from the Roman elite emperors, senators, and wealthy citizens. An AI trained on this data could develop a bias, getting really good at telling the stories of the powerful while accidentally erasing the histories of women, slaves, or common people. To prove its capabilities, they put it to the test on one of the most important texts in Roman history, the so-called Queen of Inscriptions. Aeneas analysed the text and narrowed the date down to the two most likely ranges that historians have long argued over, proving its accuracy on a massive scale. This result is stunning, but it also highlights a fascinating problem for historians, the black box issue. Aeneas can give the right answer, but it can't always explain how it got there. So, if the AI makes a suggestion that contradicts decades of human scholarship, how can an expert trust it? The next frontier isn't just making the AI smarter, but making it explainable. But what really brought this to a head was the next development. In tests, an historian working with Aeneas produced more accurate results than either one on their own. This human-AI partnership is what a Cambridge University professor is calling transformative. The true power of this technology isn't just to help historians work faster, but to help them do things they never even thought to do before. This new potential is raising some very modern questions. For example, when a historian and a proprietary Google AI co-author a historical discovery, who gets the credit? The US Copyright Office has already stated that an AI cannot be an author, but the lines are getting blurry. We're entering a new era where we have to figure out the rules for intellectual property, ensuring that commercial interests don't end up shaping our very understanding of the past.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.